That reminds me of the Key and Peele sketch about black eyes.
I don't know if that's familiar or not. In college, I want you to know the recording has definitely started. In college, I was really into Key and Peele, and I probably watched it all at that point in time. But man, college has been a solid decade plus ago now, sadly. Much as I hate to admit that.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody. My name is Shawn Shaler. That's my friend Chris Ford, aka the Objective Geek of YouTube and Twitter fame. And this podcast is all about Key and Peele. You've been punked this whole time. It's just building you up to talk about Key and Peele. And what did I see? Was Key in like one of the newer episodes of Whose Line Is It Anyway, or like a guest star on the new Whose Line Is It Anyway, or something like that? I get those.
I have not watched the new Whose Line Is It Anyway since high school, and I used to love Whose Line Is It Anyway. Like, hilarious show. Wayne Brady is
he's a comedic genius.
If I think about like some of the most talented, multi-talented people, it'll probably go Jamie Foxx.
Okay, that's good. I wouldn't have thought of that.
And probably Wayne Brady.
He can act. He can voice act. He can sing. He's like improv, obviously. Like that guy does everything.
Unmatched improv, probably.
I'm fine with Whose Line. Wife really likes it. I'm fine with it. But on the new, I get clips of the new, like, past few years Whose Line all the time. And I feel like he was on there once. I bet he'd be a good improv person. Anyway, listen, funnily enough, today's episode is also not about Avatar, The Last Airbender. Yeah. So it's a brilliant segue, if you want to think of it that. This is the last time we'll do this. But we are going to give you our thoughts on Ted Lasso. I don't know why we decided to make this exception, other than it's a pandemic. It was an interesting show. We both like Jason Sudeikis. And what was the initial? Was it that we were talking about Scrubs? And then we're like, we got to give this show a chance because it's from Bill Lawrence?
Bill Lawrence, yes.
And I don't know why we decided to make an exception. But like, yeah, why not? Let's throw a review of Ted Lasso Season 1 out there. Now I feel like we got to...
we got it. None of our regular listeners, 2 or 3 of you out there, are probably like, oh gosh, this again. I guess this will be the week I check out. Which that's okay. Sorry for that, and I understand. But
give us one more, and then we won't do it again until the Community movie comes out.
Ooh,
we won't do it again until the Community movie. We promise. Everything else will be strictly animated or directly related to Avatar universe until.
No, don't make that promise. Who knows?
Indirectly, subjectively related in our brains to. Listen,
they were about to start filming the Community movie, but then the writer's strike.
I do recall that. I recall lots of. I'm going to call it smoke at that time. So
wait, are you talking about in 2008 in the last writer's strike?
No, talking about like recently,
right now.
Like
okay.
Maybe last year there was lots of smoke around the start of writing the movie, but.
Yes. Yeah.
I still maintain that it's not. I will never fight that it is a good show. Not that I don't think it's good, but it's just a perfect Shawn. Like you get the ensemble, quirky comedy, does not take itself seriously at all. Like it's not a sitcom. It's just a pure comedy.
Perfect Shawn show.
It is. The first 3 seasons are like they were made for Shawn to watch. So yeah, we will break the law again for Community, but today we're gonna break it for Ted Lasso season 3. I promise we won't do it anymore. But what it boils down to is that Ted Lasso is a really good show that everybody should give a chance. A chance. That's where I'll stop that. But Chris, we don't have a structure for this. We're just gonna talk about our thoughts on Ted Lasso season 3 and or overall thoughts on Ted Lasso as it is presumably done in its current state, in its current iteration. However you want to start this, I have no structure whatsoever.
Structure in my head is overall, maybe it's a few great standout moments, standout characters, and Ted Lasso overall. Anyway, but we don't have to stick to that, and we probably won't, even if we had a structure. Ted Lasso season 3, I freaking loved it. Like, and I waited to watch it because I was like, I just want to savor kind of this. And so like even though you had shared the Apple password, I was like, no, I'll just wait a while, and
Even
didn't disappoint.
even when I started, it was already 4 or 5 in, and then
Yes,
you
yeah,
waited a couple weeks longer.
yeah.
It just occurs to me we're probably the only two people where there's more than one person on a podcast, and neither of us is really like an Apple person. Not that we're against Apple. That's not what I'm saying. But like neither of
I'm
us.
against Apple. I'll be against Apple.
I'm pretty against Apple. I just don't want to upset most of our viewers who probably are pro Apple. But
Freaking sheep. No, I'm kidding. Your phones have really great resale value. Good job.
It's fantastic. I'm so happy. But listen, it is funny that like we have to like drum up an Apple ID every 2 years when a new season drops. The rest of the world just has one. Sorry, I interrupted you to talk about nonsense.
Season 3. I love season 3. I love what we're doing with these characters. I think Ted. No, that's more of an overarching thought. Season 3, like the crux of it, is that like they're out of. I'm like, I can't talk to what league they're in. They're out of the Champions League, and they're in the
League.
Yes.
If it's champion or championship, we apologize. We are like Ted. We don't know soccer. The lower champions or championship league.
Yeah. And now they're in the Premier League, and like they go through all these things, the triumphs and stuff of the year. This season wasn't so much about last season. I felt it was a lot about Ted's anxiety and getting over it, and this year was more so about Ted's acceptance of what he actually wants in life. Which is great. It's fantastic. Ted Lasso as a character, I think, is one of the, in my head, I have like a list. Yeah, forget structure because now I'm going to overall.
Yeah, knock yourself out.
In my head, I have a list of like, these are some of the best, most aspirational characters ever. And
aspirational, not in the character themselves, but in the design of that character, like aspirational by the creators.
Aspirational sense of like what they stand for, what their life goals are, credences are, their effects on other people, their levels of empathy, the levels of using their emotional intelligence, the levels of just like if we could all aspire to be more like these people, society would be better. Those characters are
okay.
Wonder Woman, like great. That's probably the only superhero on this list because, like, I love Batman. Yes, I do love Batman, but Batman has a few issues, and so he's not on this list. Even though I absolutely love Batman, he just has a few like internal mental issues that he's still working through. But so superhero wise, Wonder Woman, everything about her is she's always been written to be so strong, so smart, but so empathetic still. She's very much an oxymoron. So Wonder Woman, Arnold Shortman from Hey Arnold, I think is probably the most aspirational character.
That's a great count right there. I like that. That's nice. I would not have seen that coming.
Nice. He gives and gives to people without wanting anything in return ever. He even his bullies, like he helps out because helping is the right thing to do. Like no matter what, Arnold wants to help people, and I absolutely love that about Arnold. He's not like he doesn't have any special gifts or anything like that. He's just a normal boy who just wants to help people.
His coolest gift is an awesome bedroom.
Yeah,
that is his superpower.
It's funny. When I was in Tulsa recently, I went down to Vintage Stock. Something I had to sell. And I have this Gerald from Hey Arnold shirt. And I talked to the clerk there. I probably could talk to this person for like I had a great conversation.
I'm impressed that you went into a Vintage Stock and that somebody there talked to you.
People never.
You can cause a lot of disruption in vintage stock before anybody will pay attention to you
Oh,
in
yeah, that's
the
true.
ones that I
Well,
frequent.
I was checking out. I was buying something, so
Okay,
they
that
have to
explains a
talk to
lot.
me.
Yeah.
Okay. But they were like, "Oh, nice shirt." Like we were talking about Hey Arnold and stuff, and I was talking about how much I love uh, Hey Arnold, how much I love the character of Arnold, and then somehow we got a conversation about Avatar because I was buying a bunch of action figures for Avatar because they're very much on sale, and and then I was talking to this person about Korra, about Avatar, about the ancient novels. Like we were both just like, yeah, like Kyoshi was so great here. Anyway, shout out to that person. Had a great conversation, even though it was only like 5 or so minutes. Anyway, back to my list of most inspirational people. Wonder Woman, Arnold Sherman from Hey Arnold, and I would Iroh, definitely Iroh's on the list. Aang is maybe on the list, sort of. I really love Aang because, and we might get to this in a future episode. Aang has a sort of belief system in him, and he will not yield to like society's standards or expectations. Like he is unwavering in his convictions. Love that. But he doesn't make this list almost. But Iroh makes the list. And then we have Ted Lasso, a character who believes in people, who doesn't want to be petty ever just for the sake of being petty, because he sees that it's better to reach a hand. It's better to use your hand to reach out to people rather than push people away. And for instance, which I would have saw more of, like he had that video of Nate that was like so embarrassing, of Nate ripping up the believe sign, and then he like hides away and he says, "So can you reach the sign at first?" He gets a chair, and he has to wait like like almost 10 hours. It's an embarrassing video, and like Coach and not Beard and oh my
Roy.
gosh, Roy. Roy's like, "Oh, we should show people this," and Ted's like, "That's not the thing to do." And like Ted still thinks about Nate. Like he's still concerned about him and stuff. He could have been petty. A lot of people would have been petty. Like Nate was completely disrespectful to him, completely betrayed him. But that's not Ted Lasso. Like Ted is different. Yeah, he has his own problems and things, but he wants to believe in people. He wants to inspire people, and he's being a little bit more open and honest with people. He fundamentally changes everyone who's around him. Anyway,
That's
that
a
was a
good,
lot.
that's a good list of aspirational characters.
I
Season
feel like I
three.
should be able to think of a fifth. I don't know, have enough people, a list of 4 people isn't getting me a fifth one.
Uh,
Virgil Hawkins, aka Static Shock.
that's fair. I was gonna say
Okay.
TJ from Recess, but I like where you took the answer.
It's funny, a lot of people bring up Recess when I talk about Hey Arnold, and like I don't consider Recess like as good as Hey Arnold.
I don't think the show is as good, but you've got a different set of nostalgia. So like,
Yeah.
I didn't have cable, but I did get Recess every Saturday morning on WB,
ABC?
maybe
Nah,
for
ABC.
ABC. Okay, so I got it for an hour, and so I got way more exposure to Recess. So I would imagine in places or in I don't know, groups that had less cable, you probably get more of a. But it's like the same time frame and a similar type of show, right? Like kind of a feel good,
Mm.
same. But no, Hey Arnold certainly got a higher quality to it of just writing and character diversity and things like that. But no, Ted Lasso season 3 took me a little longer to get into. I think it starts off, I'm gonna say, a little heavy-handed. It could have just been the mood I was in at the time. Through the first couple episodes, the middle episodes are very kind of emotionally compelling. I'm gonna say that kind of 4 through 7, give or take. And it eventually it did hook me in. Again, it could have been a mood or something like that, but I wasn't as hooked right away. But then
Mm.
the last 3 episodes, by the last 3 episodes, I was completely emotionally invested, and I experienced as much satisfying closure as a show has ever brought me. Sometimes in the ways that you would expect, but not in the way that it just gives you literally everything that you want, or that it gives you every single thing that you feel like is supposed to happen or whatever, right? But still just like the most good closure from the end of a season to the end of the show. So by the end of it, I was completely invested. I'll just caution. I think there's just a slightly slower start to this one, just to get things rolling. And I'm gonna stick with the phrase heavy-handed, just because I can't think of something better.
You know what I love? I love to have the complete opposite of something to a certain extent of you. I feel like I was hooked from episode 1 of this season, and I really loved the episode. So there's 12 episodes. I really loved pretty much everything up to. Honestly, I loved every episode, but really loved the middle of there up to probably episode 10. Episode 11 was really good also. And the finale, I have a weird issues with the finale.
Can we talk about the middle part first, real quick? The middle.
Sure. Let's go. Yes. We'll get to the finale eventually.
Something about those middle, and I'm not going to be good at pinpointing which episodes that pulling it up on my phone, but there's a middle handful. I'm going to say 4 or 5 episodes that were so emotionally gripping in like a character by character way.
Okay, yeah. So I think
like it felt like I was learning deep dark secrets or whatever, like about my friends or something like that. You know, it was that's where I eventually did get hooked in.
So I think it starts off in this little part of it is episode 6 where they go to Amsterdam.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So like you start to really see Jamie and Roy really kind of grow their friendship together, which I love that dynamic.
And independently, right? You get the together, but also just as independent characters.
Yeah. He learns how to ride a bike. Jamie teaches me how to ride a bike. That's hilarious. But also very character driven. Like, you say he didn't learn how to ride a bike because his grandfather was going to teach him, and then he came back from somewhere and his grandfather died. And, like, that says so much about Roy Kent. Like, he picked up all this stuff. Oh my gosh.
Well, and even his reaction to that, something on the order of, I realized that not doing so is probably a disgrace to his final wishes, or something like. Even his response to that was like the right. Yeah, episode 6, you're probably right. It flips a real big corner.
In episode 7, so in Amsterdam, Ted comes up with the triangle offense, if you will.
So he thinks, yeah.
Yeah, so he thinks, which I love that because it shows that Ted is getting better. Like he's thinking strategically about soccer, the game that the show is about but not about.
We'll try not to do
better at it.
We'll try to go non-spoilers here. I know there'll be light things like that, but
okay.
But I don't know. There's only so much that you can spoil in this show. Like it's not a gotcha show or anything like that. But no, that was a really satisfying episode. Right down there, again, right down to the very end of the episode, where there's just that little bit plot twist when he's on the bus at the end, and you're like, oh, that's funny.
Yeah. Oh, and then also, and then Ted finds out that this strategy was already invented. So that shows, like, yes, Ted is getting smart, but he's not that smart to invent a whole new freaking way to play a sport that's been around for more than 100 years. And so then, episode 8, Ted has this whole like the leak thing with Keely's nudes, and Ted fights the urge, and Ted has to get over his wife moving on without him. That guy, hate that guy.
What a douchebag! Am I allowed to say that on this podcast? What a douchebag!
Sure.
Yeah, I agree. They almost do him a little too dirty in the show. They don't do anything that explicit, but like he could just be like a normal, decent guy that Ted's ex-wife moves on to.
Well, I'll get to him in the finale.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, that's a good spot.
And then episode 9, which is I think an amazing episode.
One of my favorite episodes. To hit me in the feels real hard.
Yeah,
me and Heather like holding hands, crying.
That's hilarious.
we got really invested in this is the Isaac episode, right? The Isaac and
Yeah,
Colin
and
episode.
Colin.
Yeah, we got really invested in both, and we're just sitting down over here in these two recliners, like holding hands, just eyes welling up.
That's adorable.
It was.
Yeah,
that's an adorable episode. There's no other way to react.
Yeah, it was good.
Hey, happy Pride Month.
Oh,
yeah. Hey, that's a good.
Yeah, Avatar related. So I made that video probably about
5 years ago, maybe 5.
Shoot, it might have been 4 or 5 years ago. The LGBTQIA plus representation in Avatar. Mm-hmm. And the thing I like is that video's like outdated now. Like I don't have any Rongi. That was before Rongi. That was like when Kyoshi was like, well, it was confirmed that Kyoshi was bi. But it was like in the snippet in Turf Wars book.
You didn't have the content behind it yet.
Yeah. Yeah. Now that you have the context behind it, it's like, holy crap.
Yeah.
Like, you go through like her love story with Rongi. The videos for like if I have to redo the video, which I'm not because I don't make videos anymore. I'll have to add
Chris is gonna come out of retirement for Pride Month.
No, because it takes forever to do.
It
takes me like a good. I have no mental capacity right now to get back into doing YouTube videos.
Yeah.
Like my other hobbies right now, my hobby is Tears of the Kingdom, and everything else has just been like I haven't touched my action figures since it came out, like at all. It's just Tears of the Kingdom. That's it.
No, that's a good hobby right now, man. That's a tremendous, tremendous game.
Locker room. Yeah. I can see it. Episode 9. Locker room Oxfoley.
I have no idea how to say it. Sorry.
So so I think those episodes in the middle are probably was the peak, but it's like a plateau. For me,
great.
It was like
character development in every episode. Usually an A plot and a B plot, but in those A plots, you're getting like peak character writing.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you know what we didn't talk about? Nate's early ongoings. Yeah, he was a lot more involved in the earlier part of the season, and I think it shouldn't. I shouldn't be surprised about his character arc, because it's not necessarily that difficult to write. That's a dumb statement for me not to say that. Of course, there's writers are freaking amazing. Like I could go write this. But my point is that he wasn't so far off the beaten path that he couldn't have a redemption for us to see.
I thought that was very human though, right? Instead of a redemption, to me, it felt more like he made one wrong turn. You know what I mean? Like instead of a good guy gone bad guys, it felt relatable. Like, no, he's a good guy who had a rough patch.
Yes.
I liked it.
It wasn't like Jamie Lannister throwing a kid out the window because he didn't want to get caught having sex with his sister.
Right. It was a guy with his own career dreams and aspirations.
Yeah, exactly.
Who made a good business decision and a bad personal decision.
He did make a good. He made a good business decision.
Yeah.
Like you go to this other place, you get like free cars and stuff. You're way more noticeable. You're the head coach.
That felt hyper relatable, and that's I loved that. I loved his whole. Even if it was a little, I guess you'd say there was like a dip in how much involvement we needed from him. Like they got him in the episodes, but like he didn't have a starring role in most of those middle character episodes so much.
The thing the part of him that I loved the most was when Ted's son is visiting, and his son is like, I want to go to the game. And they're like, well, there's only one game today. And they go to see... They go to whatever that team was called.
I don't know my team. Even after watching the whole thing, I got nothing. I think Man City is where Jamie used to come from, and I can't remember Nate's. I can't remember Rupert's bad guy team.
Yeah. So they go watch that play, and they have a lot of fun, and then like they're yelling like, "Hey Nate, good job Nate!" Like that's so freaking Ted to still root him on. And like when Nate sees him, Nate's not like this. He's just like, oh, Ted's still like my friend. Like
That's a good
it confuses
seed
him.
to plant.
Yes, yeah. And then later, Rupert's like, "Oh, I can have him never come in and sing a test or something." And then he's like, "Yeah, good, thank you." But it's an interesting.
Heather found this shirt at Academy Sports for like $5. She got it for me.
Well,
I know this team name. I know it's AFC Richmond, I think.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, it is. Can remember the good guys team.
They have. Side note, they have, and Apple is always like great marketing. Like they partnered with Nike, and they did this commercial for like the last episode because they had a big game. It was like, hey, we got a big game, and the commercial was shot with like people, like the fans you see in the bar all the time. Like, you have to see it. Go check my Twitter. I retweeted it. Great freaking commercial.
Hey, that's something that Apple just gets right across the board.
They do. Their marketing team, top notch.
No substance behind it, just all superficial garbage.
They could have something that phones have been having for 5 or 10 years, but they can market it, and they'll. Does Apple have split screen yet? I don't know.
That's a great
question. I use split
screen
on my phone all the time.
I assume that they do. This is way too far off the beaten path, but I'm excited there's finally... I've always been kind of a Mac Mini supporter. I think that's an area that nobody on the Windows side has done yet, but now there's even like a better Windows Mini PC that you can buy off the shelf. And so anyway, that's way too far out of scope.
One episode that was also really good. I think it was Signs. The episode where the episode where's he at? Dang, why can't I remember his name? I have it here. Sam. Where Sam's restaurant gets vandalized and stuff like that. Great freaking episode. And his father comes, and then the team helps him out. Yeah, that was also. Each episode was a really great dissection of a character.
That's probably the show's peak, is that handful of episodes. The whole show, its peak is probably in that handful of episodes.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's talk the ending, Chris. Oh, I thought of one thing I needed to say about the beginning is that one of the turnoffs for me is that I didn't love the Zava plotline. It felt kind of unnecessary, and you kind of knew from the beginning that it wasn't going to amount to much. It felt like.
Yeah, but I think that is a good critique.
I'm going to call it a minor qualm because he still was kind of an entertaining character to watch when he was on screen. But anyway, he was annoying to me because to me he contradicted the team aspect. Like he was held to such a higher regard than everyone else. And everyone seemed fine with it. Like no one had, except for Jamie. Literally just Jamie.
Even Ted was like, "Oh shoot, who cares?" He has like the corner locker room with 4 lockers, and everyone worships the ground he walks on. And
that's part of why I'm using the phrase "heavy-handed" is like for an over-the-top. Like I know there's over-the-top personalities in sports, right? We talk a lot about sports here. We watch a fair bit, but he was just like a hair too much. I felt like.
Yeah, like even Kobe Bryant, who is known probably as one of the best ball hogs ever. He's never been, I think, like
he still understood.
Like always.
Kobe understood the purpose of the triangle offense as a means of getting himself points. He didn't like, all right, you 4 go stand in the corner and let me ISO all game, right? He understood how to make the offense work to his advantage. So I don't just ever. I'm making too big a deal of it. Minor qualm with the first few episodes.
That's a good qualm.
Let's talk finale though. Let's get to
finale.
Or at least last
I
couple episodes. Probably last two, I suppose.
So the next couple ones is the international break where like Rebecca tells that group of businessmen, "How dare you try and sell the teams and whatnot, or do a whole new league?" And that guy goes crazy. He's funny. That's a funny actor. I forget his name, but really funny actor. That like African businessman. And then there's the one where they go to they play Manchester and they go to go see his mom, which is a really weird relationship.
It's a little bit of a weird episode.
Yeah, but good episode though. Oh, real quick,
seeing Roy see posters of himself on Jamie's wall was my favorite part of that episode.
Yes, yeah, great moment there. Man, so many great moments when a team travels. I think it just makes for really some of the best, I don't know, interesting dynamics. Anytime they have to travel for a game, I don't know why that works so well for me, but it does. Like the game before, when they went to Amsterdam, that was a really good episode. Like getting people just out of their comfort zone makes them a little bit more vulnerable for character development.
And and then you're getting animosity or the adversity of being, somewhere different, somewhere else.
Yeah, not welcome home. Yeah.
They do a nice job too of representing how seriously the sport of football is taken there too. They represent it nicely. I told Heather, I was like, the only thing is I do feel like if your team was about to finish top 2 in the Premier League and you had an open practice, they had like 10 people in the stands watching the big musical numbers. Like, no, those stands would be packed.
I had the exact same opinion. I was like, this, and I thought it would be one of those things to show almost the passage of time. Like at first it's those 3, and then it's like
should have been a
and then it's like 20, and then it's a stadium to watch them do practicing. I thought that's how it would be, and that's probably how it should have been.
It probably should have been. Honestly, how it is really is. I bet none of them have open practices, but if it were, like, those people would go insane for that.
That would be. That now that I think the idea of an open practice seems like a logistical nightmare. Couldn't happen. Like you need security. You need pretty much everyone there that's there for an actual game.
My first thought when I saw that particular one, they do the great musical number, which we won't spoil too much. It's just great in the finale. My first thought is there are more people at KU football spring games. It's far.
Yeah.
It is a far, far, far bigger deal. I mean, it'd be like right now, like if the Nuggets had an open practice right now, if the Nuggets did, what would that look like?
I would think at least a quarter of the stadium.
I would think bare minimum, but they're again not trying to make too big a deal of a small thing. But it could have been, as you described, it could have been a nice metaphor of growth and success.
Yeah. So last episode, the episode's called "So Long Farewell." I never even paid attention to the episode titles for some reason. But
I can't pronounce them sometimes. Like you mentioned the French one earlier. I was like, I'm not gonna remember that 5 minutes.
Yeah. They have the big last game of the season. Like, will they win or lose? Something's on the line. I thought the champion. I wasn't fully aware of what was on the line. I know
we Americans don't understand it because there's no bracket at the end. We don't get it, but they had to win to possibly win the league. They had to win, and the other team had to lose in order for Richmond to win the league. But there's no bracket. We like brackets over here. We silly Americans.
But nonetheless, the stakes still felt high, and so that's all that matters.
There's still a championship on the line.
Yeah. Great. I love the episode, but when it comes to series finales, and that's a question in of itself, I felt, I'm gonna keep contradicting myself here because felt strong emotions watching it, but it was almost like the writing wasn't doing the work, the actors were doing the work of the
Okay.
emotions. That's a lot about the actors.
I have an example of where I would agree with that. Yeah, I'm sure
Sure.
we'll think of more, but
Like, I expected the writing to be a little bit better. There'll be moments between Ted and Nate where where I want a good conversation between them, but instead it's just like, hey, we don't have to talk about it. We don't have to talk about it. Like I wanted some like profession of of I almost wanted like the moment of Zuko apologizing to Iroh. Like that type of sense of just like you've done this and this and this and this. I also wanted Ted to say like I've never lost faith in you. Like that picture that you gave me of us hugging, since you gave it to me, it's been hanging and it's been on my couch. It's been on my table right next to my couch. I see it every day, and I see you every single day. Something to that sense. Okay, maybe that was too deep for Ted. But
yeah. I
and
mean, I suppose the difference is here we're talking
I'm
about
sorry.
lives and careers, but not like life or death. Like I don't know, Iroh and Zuko's felt like life and death, but I get what you're saying. Just wanting a deeper conversation to occur there.
Yeah. And so there's also one aspect that was I was for sure like when they introduced this narrative device, I was like, oh, this is gonna come back. So Trent Krim, formerly of the Independent, he was brought on to the team. He was like, oh, I'm gonna write a book about your team and the season and your successes and stuff like that. And so he's been writing this book this whole time. He's been around, right? Been taking notes and stuff. So I thought him as a character was supposed to be our eyes and ears into the team. At the series finale, he will kind of wrap up in some narrative fashion, almost like the last paragraph or page of his book. He will wrap up what makes Ted Lasso, what makes Richmond. They didn't do that at all. Like I almost felt to me that like they say like in writing, if you put a gun on the table in the first act, that gun has to go off in the third act. Like you just can't introduce a narrative device and not use it. Like I almost feel like they were writing the finale and they had it in there, and then they were like, "Do we need it?" And then at one point they decided they didn't need it.
I expected that.
Think you needed that.
I expected us to see Ted turn to like the last page of the book. Like I didn't expect us to get into the book too much, but I expected to see like Ted or Beard or somebody turn to the last page, and then that be where he introduced his fourth, whatever, like his fourth point to total football was, or something like that. So not that we'd get a ton of insight, but that's where like that little piece of closure would be like maybe Trent filled in number 4 for him because he didn't know yet. Something like a little corny, but cute.
Or number 4 was Ted, or maybe he said that already. I was expecting a really good wrap up there from that. I did like Trent Krim being on the team.
Mm-hmm.
I've always liked that character, and especially like in this season because he was such a advocate for one of the players on the team. Just try to keep it a little bit spoiler free because I think it's one of the best freaking things.
Yeah. I love that Roy refers to other Trent as Better Trent in the press conferences. That's like one of my favorite parts of the whole show is that he calls him Better Trent.
There'll be moments in the show that I would just laugh. The writing's not okay. I feel like I keep crapping on writing in this, but I'm not. It's not, really just a testament to the actors. Like I've never seen acting done so well that it's just comedy, how they're reacting and acting to things. I know there's writing in there. I know there's writing supporting them as the foundation, the structure, but the actors are just freaking delivering it.
I think I don't know if I'm trying to say what you're thinking here, and I don't know if I'm hitting on the nail or not, but like what I would describe it is that the writing is not over-engineered. It's not overly complex or taking like lots of crazy creative liberties. Like it just is solid, relatable writing that I don't know. It just does the job crisply.
Like the writing in Community done freaking. It's writing on like the highest level of writing I think you can get to. Like the only person on Community who probably um, goes off script more is probably Donald Glover, but everyone else kind of sticks to the script, and the script is freaking hilarious. I mean, you're reading it, it's funny.
That's like, what's his name, Harmon? Just that's his thing,
Dan
right?
Harmon.
Is wildly over engineered but still appropriately connected writing, and this is not that. This is not that at all.
Like if I describe to someone a moment that made me laugh out loud, they'd be like, "Oh, okay." They wouldn't get it.
You have to see it to get the experience. Whereas if you read a joke from a their Community or Rick and Morty or whatever, you're probably going to be like, "That's funny." I didn't care for the way that I liked the ends of how the Roy, Jamie, Keeley wound up. Like I liked the end result, but I didn't like how they did it in the finale. Like I didn't like the means. Am I saying that right? Yeah, I liked the ends. I did not like the means.
I agree, but I also like them having confrontation.
I do like the confrontation. I sort of
like,
just wanted...
I don't know how to write it. I agree with what you're saying. I don't know how to write it where you still get that physical confrontation, but you don't write it in that sense of making like an ultimatum.
I sort of was hoping that it wouldn't come to fruition until like the next day, and that she would just see them, like kind of beaten and tattered, like what the hell happened to you guys, and then they could kind of half explain, and maybe she just catches on and be like, and kind of give her answer there, something like that. I don't just.
You effing idiots.
Yeah, something like that, and then you still get the same ends, but with like a less childish process. I still want the fight. I absolutely want the fight.
Yeah. But even though we didn't see it, how fun would have been? How fun would have been?
I think they can't show it because you have to figure. I know Roy's got knee problems, but like just as an actor, he's such a big, like, intimidating human. How would you show him taking a punch from Jamie? I don't know.
It would have been great. I would. That would have been a little bit more costly.
Yeah. But, you know, hey, that speaks to my other thing with the last episode is that, so, like, to have your conversation, to play some of these things out, maybe a little more. Honestly, that last episode could have been longer, right? I don't know if I need a whole nother episode, but there's a lot of little things that, like, that could have used another minute, 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Let's do, Chris, recommendations on the season and then the series overall.
You said recommendations on the season? What do you mean recommendations on the season?
Well, just do you have a preferred rank of seasons? Is this your favorite season?
I get you. Okay. You know, that's really tough. Season 2 is my least favorite. That's probably easy.
Same.
Season
it deals with the hardest stuff.
Season 1 is probably maybe season 3 is my favorite.
I think season 3 is my favorite. I think I'm at 3. 1's got the most charm. 3's got the most closure. 2 is the necessary part in the middle. It's still very good. I
think right now, yeah.
I'm glad that they are cutting it. I'm glad they're cutting it at season 3. Like, I don't know what else they would have done to kind of make it more like sure. They designed it very well for 3 seasons.
Shawn, I'm not sure this is the last. I think this is the last Ted Lasso episode. Because I think Jason Sudeikis is. I think this is the most logical conclusion to this character's story. But I think FC Richmond. I think there'll be a spinoff show called AFC Richmond or Roy Kent.
You know,
and I'm not sure that show's going to be successful. Because Ted Lasso, as the character himself, he wasn't like, if I think about screen time, season 1, he was probably like 80%. Season 2, 72%. Season 3, probably more like 55% of the focus.
I think there's money there because it was successful, right? So you have to expect something else to happen. I think without Ted, it's not that it becomes a bad show, but you're literally losing the face of the show. So it could be a very good show, but you would just kind of instantly.
I think they retooled the show a little bit. Call it something else. Roy Kent will be probably the more so the main character, working through his issues and problems, and maybe the way it goes, like each character. Roy has his 3 years of growth, and then another character gets there. I don't know. No, that's too redundant.
I think you could make a decent enough show around Roy, and then the other 2 assistant coaches.
Yeah,
are engaging enough for lots of good B plot type stuff.
I'm pretty sure that there's no news of this or anything, but I am 80% sure there'll be a spinoff.
There's money to be made there. It's extremely popular. I mean, it's what any place would do.
I think they purposely left some things closed, some story points. I'm sorry, they purposely left some story points open ended.
If you cut it off right now, I'd still say I was totally satisfied, even if you didn't fill all those gaps. But no, places who produce TV shows are notorious for not leaving money on the table. And like I said, it's popular. It did well.
Yeah. Warner Bros. Produces the show, and it's on Apple TV, and they don't really have that many more products to entice people. I hear they have a lot of good
through there, man, and there's not a whole lot else on Apple TV for me.
I'm gonna watch Shrinking because it's all from Bill Lawrence. That one's probably a little bit more serious, but also has comedy. So I'm really interested to get into that. But I decided just to wait on that. I think all of season 1 is available to watch, so I'll start watching that here soon.
And then my overall thoughts. I do think season 3 is my favorite. Obviously, it's only. I mean, they do insist upon each other. You have to watch 1 and 2 for 3 to be as good as it is. But I will. Yeah. I know we've said it already. I will say it again. It's not that any one aspect of the show is like this is the best show for this thing that we've ever seen. It's just that it's really good across the board with a really wide appeal, even though it doesn't seem like it should. And so if you have any love for kind of, I'm going to call it relatively grounded comedy, drama that is not, I don't know, not like exacerbated drama per se, but like kind of relatable stuff. If you have any room in your heart for those, that you need to go watch all 3 seasons of Ted Lasso. They're only 12 episodes each too, and that's a factor, right? Like you're talking a 36 episode times 40-minute commitment, right? That's a solid. It's a couple of weekends of binging, A few weekends worth.
Quick question, Shawn. Who's your top 4 characters this season?
Number 4,
or you can go.
Number 4. Oh, yeah. Let me go first.
Okay.
I'm struggling with number 4. Let me come back to that. Number 3 is Rebecca. Number 2 is Ted. Number 1 is Roy.
Ooh.
Let me come back to 4. Who's my number 4? Isaac. I love Isaac. He's like he gets like a good arc. It's very consistent throughout all 3 seasons. It's not a huge, major, big swing or anything like that. Just a good, solid, consistent upward momentum. But like in the background, as far as character goes, give me an Isaac as my number 4, just off the cuff.
Okay. Oh man, I'm gonna go. Rebecca wouldn't even make my top 5. That says a lot. I thought she took a little bit of a backseat this season.
She doesn't have a tremendous arc. I know they try to play it like she does with the whole watch Rupert burn to not. But she doesn't go through like a drastic. They try really hard in season 3 to make that something, and I don't know if that quite comes to as much fruition. But I really like her, so I'm gonna leave her at 3.
I'm gonna go Colin at number 4.
Great choice. We could have used more Colin before season 3, right? We really only get into
Yeah,
Colin in
yeah.
season 3.
Calling number 4. Sam, number 3. Roy, number 2. And Ted, number 1.
Could have used more Sam in season 3. Like season 2, you got good Sam stuff.
Yeah.
Season 3, we didn't get quite as much Sam stuff.
I don't think so either. Yeah.
That's a great list. It's hard to argue with those characters. And, you know, neither one of us even touched on, you know, Jamie had a really big arc.
He was great too.
Really well handled, I thought, right? Like it's big, kind of exaggerated, but very engaging the whole way. Who else has just good season 1 to season 3? I mean, Nate, right? Like Nate could have appeared on the lists. Beard,
Yeah.
Beard, just his Beard kind of is a plot device, just in his own right. He's not much of a character to be beloved, I guess.
I like Trent Krim. Trent Krim is different. Like he started off kind of.
You're supposed to think of him as kind of the bad guy in the early going, not the bad guy, but annoying press. No, yeah, we get.
Yes.
That's great. Who else we even? I'm really bad with some of those other player names. Zorro gets the mask. I don't know how to say it. Zorro gets the Zorro mask at the end. I love that. But there again, he doesn't really have a big arc. Yeah.
You know what's funny? His character name is Theory Zoria something. I didn't know his name was actually had Zorro on it.
That's awesome.
Anyway.
Danny Rojas has a little bit of arc. No, I think we covered the big ones, and they're all very.
Danny Rojas, probably the most beautiful smile I've ever seen on any person.
I hope he's that happy in real life. Like he doesn't have to.
I do too.
He just like he's got such a handsome smile too.
You would have to. That smile is not fake. That's not unless he's like the world's greatest actor.
If he is, he's knocking it out of the park. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Chris, Ted Lasso, a lot of fun, a lot of feels. Not too many feels though. Like the fact that I was able to watch it tells you the level of drama that it is, and it is there, but like it's manageable. It doesn't try to kick you while you're down or anything like that, for the most part. That's what I hate in drama is like you're already down, you're already feeling bad, and then they gotta come like curb stomp your feelings farther down. You don't get that in Ted Lasso. It's not that kind of show. That's like HBO drama.
It's funny. It's a show whose main character deal with a lot of anxiety, but the show itself isn't that anxiety producing. Like some shows, like purposely to get you into the shows, like will they, won't they? These stakes are so high. Like I feel like Ted Lasso is going to handle you really well and treat you nice. Won't beat you up too bad. Won't get your heart racing. Like it'll get your heart going in a good. Get your heart in a flutter, but not running.
If when I say drama, you think about like HBO dramas, like it's not that level of.
Like Game of Thrones is intense. Every episode is like.
Game of Thrones tries to hurt you, not really by subverting expectations, because at a certain point you just expect if you like a person that they're gonna die. So it's really not subverting expectations; it just finds ways to hurt you. And Ted Lasso doesn't do that, and I think that's what makes it feel a little more grounded and relatable. I think
there's not as much tension in the air.
Agreed.
Anyway.
We've been talking for a really long time, Chris.
Let's stop.
Let's stop. But let's say, go watch. Like I said, if you have any room in your heart for that kind of comedy, a kind of easy watching comedy drama, go sign up for a free, every once in a while. What Chris and I did was Best Buy. You can just get like a free 3 months, something like that, of Apple TV. It'll just be totally free. Go do that, or borrow it off a friend, or realize that you, unlike us, already have an Apple phone, and give it a watch. Right? If you have an Apple phone, do you get a discount or something? I imagine. I don't think it's free, but I bet you get like a heavy discount. I don't know.
My wife has an Apple phone.
Like T-Mobile, if you have T-Mobile, don't you get free Apple TV or something like that?
Jeez, I don't know. I have T-Mobile also, but I haven't tried to push it because I have free Hulu from when they were. I originally had Sprint and I have free Hulu from that, and so I'm just want to keep my free Hulu.
Could be a
I don't know
year.
if I changed that.
Yeah,
What?
it could be like a year too. Like, hey, when you move to T-Mobile, here's a free year of Apple. Or I don't know for sure, but there's ways to get Apple TV very inexpensively, and I think it's worthwhile. So, hey, thanks for bearing in there with us for one more Ted Lasso episode. We'll stop now. My name's Shawn.
Yes.
That's my friend Chris Ford, aka the Objective Geek, of YouTube and Twitter fame. Was Avatar: The Last Podcasters. I'll put all the details down in the chat. Thanks for watching. We will see you next time. If I can find the button, there it is. See you next time.
You know, I don't like the opening to Ted Lasso. Hey!
It's not my favorite song. Or my favorite music, yeah. Not my favorite.
I mean, I guess it works.